Welcome, thanks for joining us. We're here today with Susan Aruna and Ceazar from Strength in You. And wow, this is the best gym certainly that I've seen, best well equipped, with the best trainers. And as far as RMTs, you really shouldn't go anywhere else because he's been treating Susan for years actually. And so we're really blessed to have him today. He's going to take us through some exercises and his expertise of what he sees people doing wrong.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for inviting me on your show.
Thank you. You are the rock of the RMT world.
Yes.
I've said that before, and it's so true. Second to none.
Thank you. So, today we're going to go over a bench press, right?
Yes, so do this, not that.
Do this, not that.
Do this, not
So we're going to
that.
go over things that you need to watch that you don't want to be doing, because over time that could lead to injury, and we don't want that. We don't want to end up here being treated to train.
You do want to end up here, but you don't want to end up here for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Right.
You want to end up here for the right reasons,
Right.
right? Okay, awesome. So what we're going to do today is the bench press. So these are things that I've kind of, little tips and little tricks of the trade that I taught myself throughout the years of working out and stuff like that. Okay? So
Experience is the best teacher.
Absolutely. Everything involves posture before the exercise, right? If you get into the exercise with poor posture, the exercise is just not going to work, more prone to injuries, muscular imbalances, and so on and so forth. Okay? So one of the first things that I like to do before I even get into the bench press is I like to set my feet nice and grounded. Okay? Because a lot of people think the bench press is just a chest exercise, but it actually is a total body exercise. You're incorporating your quads, your hamstrings, your butt muscles, your stabilizer, so on and so forth. Everything has to contract in unison in order for you to get that movement up properly. Okay? So, when we lie down on the bench, we want to make sure that we're nice and tight in the hips here. Sometimes I'll tend to move my legs back a little bit. So whenever I kind of struggle on the way up, I push my feet into the ground, and that gives me a little more of a solid base and more strength to get that weight up. Another thing I do is I lock my shoulder blades together and pop my chest up. Okay? So, majority of the population work in front of a computer, they work a 9 to 5, but they also enjoy being active as well. Sometimes when we tend to work a 9 to 5 job, everything that we do is kind of like this. And doing a bench press kind of, what am I trying to say? Doing a bench press kind of like strengthens that rounding of the chest, rounding of the shoulders, so on and so forth. So if you're going into that exercise with a rounded chest, rounded shoulder, we're more susceptible to injury and so on and so forth. So what we want to do is we want to open up that chest a lot more and depress our shoulders a little bit and kind of lock our lats and our scapulas in place. Okay?
So scapular retraction.
Scapular retraction, absolutely. Right. So anytime we start to contract our lats and our scapular stabilizers, we start to see a bit of a curvature running through here. And that's when you know you're locked into place. Okay, now powerlifting will probably have a higher arch, but we're not teaching powerlifting today, so this arch is totally fine.
So neutral back, right?
Neutral back, but you want,
maybe a little more.
As soon as you kind of tighten the scapulas together and kind of depress the shoulders, it just naturally pops your chest out that much more. Okay? So now, hand placement is important as well. If we're working a little more tricep, I tend to put my hands a little closer, but we're doing a bench today, so it's going to be a tad wide. We're going to lift the bar up. Now typically, when we get the bar up, a lot of people tend to keep their shoulders, here I'll show you this way. A lot of people tend to keep their shoulders kind of like this, and then they bench down like this, and then back up. I was a prime example. I had those bad habits, so I ended up with a shoulder injury myself. Okay, but what you actually want to do is you want to bring the bar down a little bit. You want to put a slight bend in your elbow, about a 45-degree angle, and then when you go down, you can either push straight up, or you can push straight up and a bit of an angle going up this way. You never want the bar to go forward that way.
Gotcha.
Okay? And the thing is a common mistake a lot of people make is they tend to kind of go very deep on that bench press, and they start to bounce it off their chest. Okay, but what happens is when you go way too deep on that bench press, you actually lose some chest contraction. right? So anything that goes deeper than you're supposed to go, like for example, all the way down here, see how our elbows are pretty much past that bench? That is all rotator cuff. So when you lose the chest contraction at that point, you lose a lot of the muscle contraction from your chest. You're working a lot of your stabilizers and stuff like that. And sometimes the stabilizers aren't strong enough to handle that load. Okay?
So at the top of this move, I'm
Yeah.
thinking about popping up my chest,
Yeah.
pressing my shoulders
Yeah.
down, maintaining a strong core,
Yeah.
and not locking out my elbows.
And not locking out your elbows. And these are a lot of cues in order to do a bench press, but a lot of people think the bench press is just a basic movement. There's so many things involved in the bench press in order for you to do it properly, in order for you to not injure yourself.
And exhale on the
And exhale during the hard part. Breathing is so important when it comes to exercise. A lot of people don't understand that breathing is an exercise in itself.
Yes.
Your diaphragm is a muscle, your muscle needs, that diaphragm needs to be able to kind of contract, expand, so on and so forth when you're breathing in and breathing out. So we always breathe out during the hard part.
So, if I can interject, it looks like you're using what's called a suicide grip.
Yes, so they call it a suicide grip because if you are not familiar with this grip, it
Right.
can definitely slip out of your hands and fall on your chest.
Any suggestions?
You know what? I don't have any suggestions because I use the same grip.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
I use the same grip.
It's a comfort thing.
It's a comfort
Yeah.
thing for me too.
Yeah.
When I do a lat pull down, I use the same grip. When I'm driving,
Yeah.
excuse my language.
Yeah,
Pull
yeah.
ups.
I use the same grip as well. When I'm
It's
pull
what
ups,
yeah.
same thing.
Same thing.
So you don't suggest this?
The thumb around, it's a comfort thing.
I don't know.
Try both
Do
and see.
it with a closed fist. That's the safest way to do it. I was taught long ago, 25 years ago, to do it this way. Some old habits are just hard to break. I wouldn't recommend it to people who just start working out. If you're going on a really heavy set, I probably wouldn't recommend doing a suicide grip. But if you're seasoned, you've been benching for a long time, go nuts.
Make sure there's no Vaseline or lotion on your hands. Carry
Make
on.
sure there's no Vaseline or lotions in your hands.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Or no grease from the chicken. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Thank you, Caesar.
Cool.
Amazing.
Wow.